Some crimes are never solved. Some mysteries remain buried in the dark. But what if the truth is still out there, waiting to be uncovered? Welcome to Crime Files. Let's uncover the truth together.
The murder case of Annie Holmes from the perspective of Detective Lucas Harper. The air smelled of rain and smoke. The neon lights of New York streets had yet to fade when I arrived at the crime scene. Police cars cast eerie red and blue shadows on the towering city walls. The scent of blood lingered in the air. From the moment I stepped out of my car, I knew this wasn't an ordinary case. Annie Holmes, a 27-year-old woman, had been brutally murdered in her apartment in Manhattan. Her body was found in the bedroom. The window was open and the breeze gently swayed the thin curtains, as if the crime scene itself was still alive. As I stepped inside, the first thing that caught my attention was the position of her body. Annie lay on the floor, her eyes open, hands resting on her chest. But the way her body was positioned suggested this wasn't an ordinary murder. Deep slash wounds marked her neck. Scratches on her hands and face indicated she had fought back before her death. But what stood out the most was the absence of any signs of forced entry or robbery. The forensic examiner, Dr. Mark Wilson, stood beside the body, reviewing his notes. "Time of death?" I asked. Without looking up, he replied, "Somewhere between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. Then he lifted his head and looked at me. It seems the killer wanted to make sure the victim suffered. Something about the scene didn't feel right. Annie was supposed to attend a party that night, but she never made it. On the table, there was a phone with several missed calls from a particular number. Tobias Jones, Annie's ex-boyfriend, a man who, according to reports, had threatened her multiple times. When I arrived at his workplace, an auto repair shop, he seemed completely calm. With a nervous smile, he said, "Detective, believe me, I had nothing to do with this." "Then why did you call her dozens of times that night?" His gaze dropped to the floor. "I just wanted to talk to her." "And then what?" "She didn't answer." Tobias didn't seem innocent, but something about his demeanor made me hesitate. He looked angry. Not like a killer, but like someone hiding something from me. A search of Annie's phone revealed that she had received threatening messages in recent days. But they weren't from Tobias. An unknown number had warned her to stay out of the case. But what case? After further investigation, I discovered that Annie had testified in a legal case against her landlord. The landlord, a man named Victor Langston, had been accused of exploiting and threatening his tenants. But why would that get her killed? One night, after hours of investigation, I finally found a piece of evidence that changed everything. Security camera footage near the crime scene showed a man dressed in black with a baseball cap entering the building at midnight. After analyzing more footage, we were able to identify his face. He was a man previously linked to Victor Langston's case, one of his enforcers. Victor Langston, the real killer, had tried to frame Tobias for the murder. But DNA evidence and the threatening messages to Annie led the police to arrest him for the crime. In court, Tobias, who had initially been the prime suspect, was cleared of all charges, and Victor was sentenced to life in prison. But this wasn't the end of the story. This wasn't just a murder. It was part of a larger corruption case in New York. Annie was just one of the victims who lost their lives in the pursuit of the truth. And and I, Detective Lucas Harper, came to realize that sometimes the truth is so dark that even justice can't fully bring it to light. Real criminal cases. If you found the story intriguing, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any mysterious cases. Also, your likes and comments help bring these stories to more people. Let us know. How do you think this case will end?
Some cases remain unsolved, but the truth is never buried forever. Don't forget to subscribe. The next case might be even darker.